Welcome back. I'm Gary Parr.
And I'm Vonna Pfeiffer.
You're listening to the midweek version of Fiber Talk, that twice weekly podcast for people who do the needle and thread thing.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm doing Sarah Brazier. All right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, this is, yeah. It's what the linen itself is 36 by 36 roughly.
Mm-hmm.
It's monstrous. You have the chart. Mm-hmm. How are you doing on yours? Oh, never mind. You aren't doing yours. Never mind.
But let me tell you here, Mr. Smarty, I pulled it out after our last podcast. I went down immediately and pulled it out and looked at it. So I'm looking at it.
Did you choke on the dust? Did you choke on the dust or?
Yeah. As it went up my nose. No. So what count? If it's 36 by 36, what count are you stitching?
40.
Oh, you are. Okay.
Yeah. So it's got this double border.
Mm-hmm.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it is beautiful.
So I go around and I stitch all the way around, and I use the technique where you do a half crosses, and then every 10th one you make a full cross, so you can count as you go.
Yeah.
Everything meets up in the bottom corner. Start top left, bottom right. Everything meets up perfect. Mm-hmm. Yay me, I win. Okay.
Yeah.
So then I start, and it has this. So it's a double border on the outside because you satin stitch in between, and then there's 20 or so stitches, and then there's a second border that you put in. Mm-hmm. So then I start over in the left corner and I put that in, and I stitch that all the way around and get to the other side. Now, a smart person getting across the top and down the right side would have then counted to make sure that I had the right gap on the right side. A smart person would have done that.
Yeah.
But no. So I start over on the left, and the border's these beautiful flowers on this undulating vine-like string,
Yeah.
And I do some of the stuff in the main center area. So I get all the way over to the right. Mm-hmm. With the undulating vine thing, I am one stitch off.
Oh.
One stitch. I'm 40 count. I am one stitch off. Oh. So immediately I think, so what? I'll fudge it. There's no way on a 40 count piece of linen that size you'll ever tell, so I'll fudge it. Mm-hmm. Then I realized that one stitch off makes the right hand channel where the flowers go too narrow. Mm. And so they're not going to sit in there right, and they're going to bang up against the satin stitch border.
Oh.
You got to be kidding me.
Oh.
So I had to tear out both borders on that side, fortunately, and shift them over one stinking stitch. Oh. Couldn't believe it. So, and of course now as I scroll up, and I haven't yet to even scroll the thing. Then, all the way down now, I'm going to have to shift that over. Fortunately, most of it's only half across. So, but it was just all the counting I did, everything. It's just one stinking stitch. And because I'm sitting there cutting it out, and Margaret says, what are you doing? I said, just don't ask. Just don't ask.
Oh, that almost makes me want to go get my Kleenex.
It's so frustrating. And, and in the big picture, it's not that big a deal, but I was so careful. I had it, everything lined up perfect. But lesson learned, when you have those double border things and you get all the way around with that inner border, make sure that you have enough gap so that the flower border part will fit in. Cause there's a lot of those that have a second, an inner border. And, so anyway, that was just frustrating. And of course, I'm tearing out and throwing away all this silk, and it's just making me just cry. And now I think I'm going to have to buy another skein of 2 of the colors just to make sure I have enough when I get to the end. I've thrown away so much silk, I could just scream.
That's just so sad when that happens. Yeah. I know how you feel. It's happened to me, and it's so easy to do.
Yep.
And that's too bad.
The thing is, in most instances, one stitch has nothing to do with anything. I just shift everything over and I'm fine.
Right.
But that border with that channel, can't do it. Got to have enough room. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. there you have it. That's fun. So Vonna,
Yeah,
when you do yours, watch that.
I'm going.
She'll never do it.
I'm going to note that on my pattern immediately.
Yeah, and 10 years from now, the Post-it note will fall off. Yeah, no. Don't bother, Vonna. You're never going to stitch that thing. Just don't bother.
Probably not.
No.
It's beautiful, though. I have looked at it. I have looked at it very much. I don't know. It's just, like I said, it kind of scares me a little bit. And then your story doesn't help.
I know. That's just it. Yeah. No, it's not, there's nothing scary about stitching it. I mean, it's all just cross stitch and satin stitch. So, there's nothing to it. It's just big,
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, it's huge.
Yeah. But it's beautiful. Oh, you talk about people not, and Nicola goes to great lengths to have good photography, but you just simply cannot produce on a piece of paper what that looks like. And I've got all the flower border done all the way to the right corner. And I'll tell you, I actually took it up to Marga, who was upstairs watching TV last night, just to show her. Mm-hmm. Just that border. It's just beautiful. It's just gorgeous.
You can't, something that big, there's no way to reproduce that on film. You know what I mean? The only thing, when you did it, the close up where were you? At the attic?
Yeah, yeah.
And when you did that, I was just shocked at how beautiful it was just from your video. And I'm certain that it still doesn't give it justice even in the video. No,
you can't do it. It's just gorgeous. Absolutely beautiful. Beautiful. The colors, and I was going to do it in DMC. I'm glad I did it in silk, but I have to say, there's several people who have done it in DMC. I have to say the DMC colors are so rich that every now and then I think, oh man, and not to save money, but just because it's a different set of colors and they're just so rich and vibrant. And
right.
It's, that's the debate that'll never end, is which way to go. But,
you'll never get a definitive answer on that. But I will say that I do believe that cotton is, in a lot of the sampler stitchers will only use silk, and that's fine, whatever, but I'm good for good old cotton. I think cotton is a fine, I stitch with silk, but I'm not a silk snob. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I can stitch with either. So
yeah. No, I don't think anything of it either way. It doesn't matter to me either way. So it's going to be beautiful. And Margaret says, I'll be dead before you get it done. And, no, you won't. No, you won't. That sucker's getting finished. Trust me, it's getting finished. Because my trouble is, unintentionally, I've collected several samplers. And I can't buy a small sampler. I don't know what the deal is. I've got.
Well, most samplers are huge.
Yeah, and there's several I want to do. Not just my stack of Hands Across the Sea samplers has some height to it, but I have some from others too that. Oh, I really because they're fun. They're fun to do. Like, this is Monday we're recording, and so Sunday, we had a day where nothing, all stinking day, just Margaret and me at home, nothing to do. Mm-hmm. I sat down all afternoon and until bedtime. I just sat there and watched TV and stitched.
Isn't that awesome when you have a day like that?
Do you know how rare that is?
Yeah, no, I know.
Oh.
Well, speaking of samplers, there's a heck of a lot of them. I think this is like the year of the sampler. Have you noticed that? Or is it just me?
Yeah. No.
It has been huge. And I have, in my warehouse, I have lots of samplers from a lot of different people. And I just went and
now is your forklift electric or gas powered?
I don't even have a forklift. I have people stationed on every level.
Oh, you went that way. Oh,
yeah.
Oh.
It's very much more efficient.
Wow.
I know.
Vonna, I bow to you.
But I just kitted up 2 samplers, and they're old. No, one's not old. One's just a year old. But Anna Grader by the Scarlet House. That I have loved that one since it came out at market last year. I love the colors. It goes right in my house, and it's just, it's just like your simple schoolgirl sampler, alphabet, a few urns, flowers, and in my colors of my home. I have had that since last market, and I've never stitched it, but I love it. So I've kitted that up. And then Elizabeth Easton by the Good Housewife. And, it is
Elizabeth. Wait, I got to write that one down because I don't know that one. Elizabeth
Easton, Easton.
Okay.
By the Good Housewife, and she is selling her samplers. See, they're all out of print, those, but she's.
Oh, come on! I write this down and it's out of print. Thanks, Vonna.
No, I'm getting ready.
Oh, wait, you probably have 6 copies, so I'll just buy one from you.
Probably. Let me go.
Yeah, call your people.
Yeah, I'll call them. Get it right on it. Anyway. She's opened an Etsy shop, The Good Housewife.
Oh, okay.
I think she lives in Germany, and so she's doing PDFs. So Gary.
Oh, there we go.
Get on and so anyways, and I believe she has that in her Etsy shop. But anyways, I've got that kitted up, and that's all in DMCs, that one. And it's it's one of those kind of colonial looking samplers with a large house in the middle and a lady in her full dress regalia and a man on either side of the house with a pretty elaborate border around it. But small, it's not large. It's a smallish type one. So not like on the lines of what you're doing with your other sampler. Yeah. So both of those, Anna Grader and both of them are, Vonna sized.
Vonna size.
Vonna size samplers. So I got both of those kitted up, ready for me to start sometime.
Sometime, yeah. Sometime. There's the operative word right there. Sometime. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think I've already seen that movie 3 or 4 times. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. All right. Well, see, and then when I get out to Phoenix and see Linda and see that Queen sampler, that will not leave my head. I'm telling you.
Did you buy that pattern?
No, but I'm coming back from Phoenix with it. It's just that's a foregone conclusion now. I've talked to myself many times. No, I'm coming back with that chart and her stitch guide. I'm going to own it. If I never stitch it, I'm going to own it so that I can do it.
Yeah.
That's just too impressive. Yeah. Yeah.
And you'll be able, if anybody can do it, you can. I have complete confidence in you.
Well,
unlike how you have no confidence in me.
No, I've just seen your movie, so.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. Just put the date on the cloth so it never gets used. Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Oh shoot.
and then, little plug for Nicola. Got to see the Queen of the May. Last year she did a May introduction, and so she has one for this year. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is that at Sassy? Is that going to be released at Sassy Jack's?
I don't think so, because Sassy Jack's will be the end of May, and this she'll release this before the 1st of May. But she I don't know where she found this one, but it's yeah.
Well, is it big?
Let's see. Nicola Parkman, Hands Across the Sea samplers, and you're asking if it's big.
Could you please talk to her, Nicola? Nicola, if you're listening, please, can we do a Vonna size sampler? We just need a Vonna size. Well, would that be the kids' meal size sampler?
Yeah. So what is that, 18-inch max?
Yeah, or even 12.
12? Oh, jeez. That's a small for Nicola, sorry.
That's a snack.
Yeah.
That's just snack size.
Yeah. Yeah, no. I'm not even going to approach her with that idea. No. She'll just hang up.
She is calling.
Yep.
And she's saying, yes, I'll help.
Yeah, no.
Oh, shoot.
She wouldn't even be her usual polite self. There'd just be a click and a dial tone. That'd be it. Go away. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, shoot.
No, not happening. So, yeah. No, but I know what you mean. The samplers, I don't know what it is, but there just are a ton of them.
Yeah.
And there seems to be, it's not that there are a ton of them and no one's interested. There's a ton of them. You know.
Everybody's interested.
Yeah.
Yeah, lots of them going around, and more on the way. I'm hearing. So
well, there sure seems to be an endless supply.
Yeah,
it's amazing. So yeah, well, it's fun, but yeah, I'm definitely coming back from Phoenix with that chart and that stitch guide. I'm just gonna, yeah.
Well, I think that you should, and I mean, like I said, I know that if anybody can do it, you can.
Well, I'll give it a good effort, but I'm going to approach that with, I may never get this done, but I'm going to keep picking away at it.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's, that's elaborate. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it is beautiful.
And I can't wait to talk to Linda with the camera and just go through and just talk about all the various things and what she did and what was in her head. It's going to be fun. Yeah. All right. Here's one for you. Okay, back to Sarah Brazier. Now, Sarah Brazier, every flower in the border has these two little diamond-shaped things that are the leaves that go below the line, and then the flower goes above it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they're all the same.
Mm-hmm.
I checked because, those samplers, they'll all look the same, and then will be one stitch off. So, I checked; they're all the same. So the question is the stitch path.
Yeah.
So do you sit down, because I probably spend more time than I should. When you come to a new section or a new motif, do you stop and say, all right, this is the path I'm going to follow to stitch this? Or do you... Okay. Never mind.
No.
I knew that was gonna be your answer. I just knew it. Yep.
No, I don't have any thought process. No. Mm-mm.
Okay. Sorry, I brought it up.
Yeah, but I would like to know what your thought process is, though. Just because maybe I want to start having more thought process.
Keith is making a note right now. Just in general, day-to-day life, can we get Vonna to have more thought process? Okay.
That's right. Can we please have her have more thought process?
Yeah. Okay. Now I'm starting to think I'm weird.
No, I don't think you're weird. I just think that I don't think about stuff. I just do everything kind of by serendipity. You know what I mean? Honestly, I do. The only thing I really, really honestly think hard about is like finishing. I really think hard about finishing, but that's my bag. You know what I mean? I don't really think hard about stitching. Now I'm thinking hard about stitching when I do like hard things, or like how I'm going to hide my threads, if you know what I mean, or if I'm going to trap where I'm going to like cross if it's like letters or stuff like that. But I don't think about how I'm going to stitch it. No, I don't.
You don't kind of roughly map out a path.
No. Mm-mm. No. Like on Jesus, I just like the one that I'm currently stitching. When I end on a day, I don't think, okay, now tomorrow I'm going to go here and stitch to here. No, I don't think that. It just, when I sit down, I look at it and I think, okay, where am I going to start today? Let's go over here and do it on this side. That's it. I don't think that's all I do. I don't think about how I'm going to do it or what, numerically what I'm going to follow. I don't. I just like go wherever I feel like it that day.
Huh. All right.
I know.
Because see, when I like, just samplers are easy to talk about just in general, but I do it with everything. Mm-hmm. So when I say I'm going to stitch a flower, I will sit there for 2 or 3 minutes, and I will say, all right, if I start here and go here and over here and down here, I will have continuity with my thread, and I will not have it show, like, it's not going to show behind 40 count in general anyway, but, and I will have a path mapped out, and then, okay, I think the length of thread I have will go about this far, so then will I continue on from there, or will it be smarter to go back to this point and fill in from the other side? So I literally map that out in my head.
Huh.
And
no,
then,
I don't do that.
Okay. And then see these little leaf things, which are very small. Mm-hmm. I've tried 2 or 3 paths looking for the most efficient path to get the cleanest X's and to end up back at the stem, because it's these 2 little diamond leaves that come back to a stem. So I'll plan out, all right, I'm going to do half crosses here, here, and here, because I'm going to go around this way and come back and finish those crosses.
Okay, now I do that.
You do that, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I do that, but I don't like sit and think about it. I just start stitching and then think, am I back there? No. Hope I make it back to that stem. No, but I do that. Like so that you don't like have thread drag. I do that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I'm semi-sane.
You're sane. I'm just insane.
Oh.
In the membrane. No, I do that for like what anything. If it's leaves or anything, I think about, if it's not solid stitching, how I'm going to like carry my thread. I don't want to carry it more than 2 stitches, and I don't want to get to the end of the leaf and then have to end off to go back to the stem. So I do that. I do that when I'm doing lettering too. When I'm stitching words or letters, I think about where I'm going to start that letter so that I can travel one over and hide it, because I don't end off every letter. I don't personally. And how I'm going to hide that and where would be the least amount of drag. And where will I start my letter? I do that, but I don't like, if I'm doing a house or something like that, I always do like if you have white in a house, I always do my white last.
Yeah.
And I probably, one thing that I do is I stitch like all the windows before I start like the color of the house.
Okay, I was going to ask you that. Those things that are trapped in a solid sea of color, how do you do those? You do those first. Okay.
I do the windows and the doors first, and then I do because that's just mindless fill in then. Right. And so I do all that first. And then but I add the curtains or the window sills if they're, white last.
Yeah. But see, that's interesting because an approach would be to stitch the solid house up to the window.
Mm-hmm. And leave the windows blank and fill the windows in last.
Or stitch the window at that point and then continue on.
No, I do the windows first and then just fill in. And if I'm stitching with overdyes, which typically I do, a lot of people don't like that that look where it's like striped, because I stitch from left to right typically. I guess that's my favorite way to stitch. I don't like to stitch right to left. I prefer to stitch left to right. Now that doesn't mean that when I get to the end of a row on my right hand side, I end off and then start back on like a typewriter. I don't do that, but because I will go, but I can really zoom when I'm going left to right. But I always like to put in the windows first, because I will then kind of skip around so that sometimes if I don't like the color, that's not the right word, don't like the color. If I don't care for a wild range of color, like if you have an overdyed, if I don't care for the stripy look that I get, I'll stitch a few stitches and then go down and stitch a few stitches, then go back up. So the stripes look more like bricks rather than long slats of stripy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you in a way you manipulate the thread to bust that up.
Right. And I try to think about where. See, look, Gary, you're making me think I am pretty smart, because I also do this. I think about where I want the light to look, like where's the light shining, and if it's like where the shadow would be, I sometimes will put like the darkest colors on one side of the window and the lighter colors on the other side.
There, see, Vonna, look at you. How sophisticated are you?
Oh gosh, I am pretty sophisticated. I can't even say.
I'm starting to get a little flutter in my heart here. This is exciting.
I know. I see. I thought I just didn't think at all, but I guess I am thinking more than what I thought I would.
Yeah.
But
I am thinking more than I thought I was thinking. Yeah, that. Yeah.
Yeah, I do that. I do think about, especially with now if it's just DMC, I don't think.
No.
I just like stitch.
But that's just it. But with overdyes, what's the point of having them if you don't take advantage of that?
Right.
To create some dimension and some feel to the thing. Yeah.
And I stitch a whole lot with overdyes. I mean, I used to not, because I used to think, oh, I don't want to, it's very expensive and yada, yada and all that. And then I finally got to the idea that, who cares? This is my hobby and I don't smoke and drink and I'm going to buy me some overdyes. And so
I'm going to take my Siggy money and get me some overdyes.
That's right. I'm going to smoke those overdyes on my stitching. So that's what I do. And so I've got and I use them a lot. I really do like them. Yeah. And for certain projects, there's some projects that I think that DMC is fine and perfect and wonderful. But I do like to use overdyes. And I like to I don't wildly change colors, to my own conversion, but I will sometimes do that if I particularly have an overdyed color that I like, Well,
and from what I recall, you'll change maybe one or two colors in a thing sometimes.
Yeah, I do. Mm-hmm.
Just to add a little different flavor to it.
Yeah, I do that a lot. And I don't do that as a slap or a smack at the designer. I just do it to, Well, it means something to me. Yeah, it means something to me, know. One of my favorite colors is Cherry Cobbler from Classic Color Works. And if there's a red in a piece, I will invariably change it to Cherry Cobbler. Yeah. Because I just love that color. Mm-hmm. And I really like Peapod too. Peapod's another green. That's a green. And I really like that color. It's like a spring green. And I really like that color too. And I'll change that too.
I would have paid big money if you had said Peapod, that's a blue. That would have been a special moment right there. Yeah, but no, you went green. You went conventional. Okay. Okay. All right. Fine. Yeah. Okay. So then you do. So that gets, that helps me because you do think about those things, even though you don't realize you are.
Yeah, I guess I do. And I don't realize I am. I have a lot of thoughts about a lot of things, I guess. And I didn't realize it, but I do think about stuff like that.
But that's the kind of stuff that to me raises it to a different level. Mm-hmm. Simple stuff to do if you just take a moment. Mm-hmm. But makes a little difference. Like if you say, all right, how's the light shining on this building? Right. All right, I'll put the lighter colors here and darker down at the base, mm-hmm. and you create some dimension on a two-dimensional piece. You create a little bit of a third dimension, at least the illusion of it. And it adds to the piece. Yeah. So and not tough to do with overdyes. I mean, just take a moment. Yep. Yeah.
And I guess that I don't know how I started thinking about that. Probably because of Ellie. With her, I've learned a lot about color and color values, I guess, from Ellie, since she draws and paints and does all the things that way. That's her talent, and so I've learned from her, I think, by watching her create her work.
Sure. Oh, and side note, and I need a picture of that ocelot. Okay. People have to see Ellie's was scratch board ocelot. I thought that was just something you did in Art 101 just to learn how to create a box. And she makes a living ocelot out of scratching on a scratch. Holy smokes. And she's 8th grade?
7th.
7th grade.
Mm-hmm. She was born in August, so she didn't go to school in kindergarten until she was 6. So she's 13, but she's only in 7th grade.
Amazing what she did with that. I mean, that thing is alive. It's alive. I mean, the eye looks, you can see the cornea of the eye.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. The eyeball. It's like you can see through, like the vitreous fluid in the eyeball.
Yes.
And the whiskers.
Yes.
The whiskers are like phenomenal too. That is Gary. You know, she's not really had any formal training. She has just watched YouTube videos, to be honest with you. And she has had a few lessons with some people, but I can't find, you would think in Bloomington, Indiana, with the liberal arts college.
Yeah, you'd think. Yeah.
You would think that I could find some student that would be willing to make $25-30 an hour teaching my kid how to do art, and I can't find anybody. And but anyways, she has taught all of that herself. When I saw that, okay, so I was scrolling through Instagram last Friday, and it was like Ellie Pfeiffer, and I saw her name, and I was like,
oh, you didn't even know about it?
No.
Oh, jeez.
And
kids, kids, come on.
I know. And she was actually on her way with her brother they went up to spend the night with Katie up in her apartment in Indianapolis. And I texted her and I said, "Is this your ocelot?" And she goes, "Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you." I was like, "Oh my goodness, that is beautiful, Ellie." I even wrote it back to her and I said, when I saw that, I gasped. "That is beautiful." And she goes, "Thank you." And I said, "Are you going to get that project back or is your teacher going to keep it?" And she said, "No, it's in the case at school for a month, I guess. And then I'll get it back." And I said, "Well, you need to make sure that you get it home safely because we need to use that for one of your fair 4-H projects for the fair."
Yeah.
And, yeah, it was beautiful. I mean, it honestly is beautiful. I was shocked. I gasped when I saw it.
Yeah.
It amazed me.
Yeah. Well, see, I've admired her art. I mean, you post a lot of her art, and I've admired it.
Mm-hmm.
And you think for a young lady like that, that's impressive stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But that sucker right there, I'm telling you, Vonna, I just stopped. You know, you gasped. I just stopped. This is not Ellie. This can't be a kid this young doing this. And I studied it, and wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I even went and looked up an ocelot, Googled an ocelot just to see how close. And she is like, I mean,
she's
like
spot on.
almost, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's my own kid, and I feel like I'm really bragging about her,
No.
but I mean, that's just a God-given talent. That's all I can say about that, because I cannot draw like that. Her dad definitely cannot draw like that, but I'll tell you where she gets that. My mother can draw like that. Yeah. She might even be better than my mother, but my mom can do that. So. Oh,
I got to have a picture to put with this podcast because people need to see. Well, a truckload of people have seen it already, but we just need to have it. That's just, that's amazing. So that's where, so then that's where the art gene comes from in your family.
Yeah. My mom's very creative. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Because there had to be some source for it for you.
Now she doesn't cross stitch or sew or anything like that. But when I was a little girl, so I was born in 1970, and my dad's a school teacher.
Thanks, Vonna. I graduated high school in 73. Thanks a lot.
And so she was
smart ass.
But anyways, my dad was a school teacher, and they were struggling. You know, they were young, and they needed to make ends meet. And remember in the 70s when paintings on barnwood was really popular?
Yeah.
So my mom did that, and my uncle, it would have been my great uncle, was a pharmacist, and my mother sold barnwood paintings in his pharmacy.
Oh. Uh-huh.
So
yeah,
she did like mushrooms. Remember mushrooms was big in the 70s.
Yep.
She did toadstools and mushrooms and little like onion head kids and stuff like that. So
hey, got a talent, put it to use. Yep.
And that's right. So And that's what she did. So I'm certain that that's where Ellie gets that, is that she gets that genetically. So.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you that we got to move on from the ocelot, but I'll tell you the part of the ocelot other than the eye.
Yeah.
It's the hairs in the ear.
Yeah, I know, the whirl of in the ear. Yeah.
That's
right.
the one. That's the one my eye goes to every time.
Mm-hmm.
Because the rest of it is stunning and gorgeous, but the way she did the hairs in the ear,
mm-hmm.
I mean, if anyone's ever owned a cat, bang, she hit it. Yep. What a talent. What a talent. Wow.
Thank you very much, Gary. I'm very proud. I'm proud of all my kids, but each one of them has a different talent and a different, you know how it is when you're a parent, and that's hers, and I'm proud of her.
Well, I'll tell you what, brag till you puke on that one. Mm-hmm. Yep. Now, don't actually puke, Vonna. It was a figure of speech, Vonna. Jeez.
Oh, shoot.
All right. Now some piece that you were finishing for someone is ruined. Here we go. Yep. Okay, so tell me now the Jesus Project,
mm-hmm.
which, in a room full of ministers, this would just not go well. But you have, I think it is a cool thing. We talked about this last time, where you found a morning of meditation, silence, and peace doing this thing with your cup of coffee. Mm-hmm. And during the Lent, it is so cool. But I have a sense that you've now developed something that is probably going to carry on beyond Easter.
Yeah, I'm going to do it every day. What do they say? It takes 14 days to create a habit.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it every day. I don't necessarily get to do it on the weekends. You would think that I'd be able to do it on the weekends because it's the weekend, but I didn't do it at all Saturday or Sunday this week because I had a funeral. I had funeral lunch and I had to run on Saturday and Sunday. We went to mass, came home, and then it was just like, well, I need to scrub the floors. We need to go to the grocery store. It was like work all day long and then hit the rack last night. But yes, no, I am going to continue that. I didn't know how that was going to be taken. It's kind of putting yourself out there doing what I was doing with Jesus. And, but it has really
good partner choice though,
Yeah. And it has really gone gangbusters. It really has. And I figured today, I was thinking how, am I further than what I was last year? And I think that I am. I think I might be a little bit further now than what I was. I figured out today by counting the squares of 10 by 10 that I've done, that I have roughly 4,600 stitches. That's how many I've done today, 2 days.
Uh-huh.
And it's about his face is about it's a little bit bigger than my whole hand. So, and I still have the whole side of his head. His hair is on that one side. So, and then his whole crown of thorns. So I'm hoping I can get him done by Easter Sunday. That's my goal. I did take it on Saturday when I had the funeral luncheon. I had told our priest that I was doing Jesus's face in cross stitch, and he looked at me dubiously and was like, okay. And I knew, that he was thinking about like blue ducks. You know what I mean? I knew that that's what he was thinking. And so I took my iPad to the luncheon, and when he was done eating and talking to the family, I like corralled him over to one corner and I said, I told you last week about Jesus's face and I wanted to show you. And so I showed him up to that. So it would have been last Friday. I showed him last Friday's picture. And when I showed it to him, he was like, oh, well, that's beautiful. And I was like, yeah. And he goes, when you said cross stitch, I had blocky square corners.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, it's not like that. I go, cross stitch has really gotten much more, developed than what it was in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
And I said, it's sepia tone. So I showed him my progress picture. And then I had a picture of the, like the design front, the finished piece.
Mm-hmm.
And I showed him the finished piece and he said, that's impressive. And I said, yeah. Now my priest is very good a very wonderful orator, but a man of few words. And I mean, for him to say that's very nice and then walk away, that was really kind of a very
that's like
big
15
compliment.
minutes, 15 minutes from someone else. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, I showed it to him, and, you know, somebody asked me, are you going to give this to like your priest or somebody in the church that you admire or a friend? And it's like, no, I'm not
No,
giving
not
it
a
away.
chance.
And I have a sick call cross, and for people that are Catholic, they'll know what this means, but it's a crucifix, and it's an antique. It was I inherited it from my grandmother, and inside, you know, like in the old days, I guess maybe still today, but I think that the priest brings it with him. But in the old days, when you were on your deathbed, they would call the priest, and the priest would come to give you last rites at the home, and you would take this crucifix down, and there's 4 places to put candles, and it holds the holy chrism oils and holy water and stuff, all in the inside of this crucifix. And you would set that up on the bedside of the person that was dying, so that when the priest came, he could do the last rites. And I have that crucifix and in our bedroom. And matter of fact, it was over my head in my last YouTube video. And I will put that piece, when I get done, I will frame it and put it below that antique crucifix in our bedroom. Yeah. So
you'll have a little thing there. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty neat.
Yeah, I am so glad that I started it, because I really wasn't prepared to start it mentally this year. And somebody asked me about it, and I don't know who that was, but whoever that was, if you're listening, thank you for asking me about it, because that put it in my head again. And I had it all ready to go, but I kind of had a bad taste in my mouth after my failure last year.
When you have to get something that far along and throw it in the trash, yeah, that would leave a bad taste.
Yeah, it was kind of sad. And so I don't know that I was mentally prepared, but isn't that the way kind of with your walk with Christ? You know, are you mentally prepared for everything that he lays at your feet? And sometimes you're not, and sometimes you are. And when you're not, a lot of times what happens? A big revelation, a big change. And that's kind of what this whole thing has been for me these last 16 days. So yeah, it's certainly been a wonderful thing for me. And I will be continuing. I have already decided I am going to continue with it. Even if it's like just 15 minutes, that's more than, you know, one length of thread. That's more than what I was doing before. And I've just found that it just like really starts my day off on a positive note. And I like that. So.
Yeah, well, see, that was the other part of it, was that you have set aside every morning, you know, and you talk about how on weekends you just can't get it in because there's 50 things to do.
Yeah.
And I think of people, mainly women, who are raising kids, cooking dinner, getting lunches ready, blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, when there's 15 minutes before you nod off in the chair, you know, that kind of a thing. And mm-hmm. you have set aside a habit of, you're up early in the morning, mm-hmm. and for this period of time when the house is quiet, I'm going to seize that and have a period of time, however long you're able to do it, that orients and grounds me. Mm-hmm. And I think that's, you know, there's beyond the Jesus thing, there's a lesson to be learned there in mm-hmm. that if you can find that time in your day, mm-hmm. whatever it is, that there's real value in that. So, you know, like for instance, for me, I thought, all right, that would be a really cool thing for me to do because I'm up by 5 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
And I thought, but I can't bring myself to do that because I have to be on my bike.
Uh-huh.
See, but then I thought, no, that's my thing. Mm-hmm. That's my stitching with Jesus thing where, you know, I get on my bike and for an hour or 2 hours or whatever, whether I'm on the trainer inside or outside, that's my time. Mm-hmm. One, where I get exercise, but two, the real value long term to me is it's my time to be away from everything and sort things out. Right.
And that's exactly what it is for me. I've always been up at like 4:30 in the morning, and that's when the alarm rings. And, my husband's one of those that the alarm rings and bloop, he's up. And I used to be like, oh gosh, it's 4:30. Oh, I'm so tired. You know what I mean? And I used to just like grumble and groan. And now it's just like, oh, it's 4:30. I gotta hurry up, get my face washed and brush my teeth. I'm gonna go down and stitch with Jesus. You know what I mean? That's how I am. And my husband's even noticed it. I haven't said it like, oh, I'm going to go down and stitch with Jesus, but he's like, boy, you're Miss Bright-Eyed and bushy-tailed, and it's like, it's because I gotta hurry up and get down there and make Ellie's lunch and set it on the end of the counter, because then the rest of the time until 7:30, 8 o'clock, that's my time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And, I have and the sooner I get down there and get all that crap done, like the herd of cattle fed, the cats that we have, and all of that, and her lunch done and coffee made and his thermos filled and all of that, the sooner I get that done, the sooner I can start stitching. And I used to waste that time, and I think about this. I used to fill that time with just mindless scrolling on Facebook and Instagram, and I think about how many hours and minutes I have wasted where I could have been doing this.
Right.
And that makes me sad. So I'm not going to waste that time anymore. And like I said, there's some days where I only get like 15 minutes. I think people have in their mind that I'm setting and stitching like for hours and hours and hours, and it's not that. It's just that. It's usually around an hour. Now, there's been a couple of times where it's like, oh, I'm just almost there. I'm going to just do this one more color. Oh, wait a minute. I'm just almost there. And there's been a couple of times where I've stitched till 9 o'clock. But most of the time I stitch from it's around, 6:30 to 7:30 is about what I stitch. And it has just been a huge boon to my psyche. And I used to be like you, Gary, and I'd go down and get on my elliptical and do my elliptical every morning. The alarm would ring, I'd put on my exercise clothes, go down and do the elliptical. And when Keith has always walked, and I used to not walk because I had this Achilles tendon problem. And since I've been on this lifestyle change, this diet that I'm on, that has resolved. I don't have that problem anymore. So for the last 7 months, we eat supper. He cleans up the dishes. I know that sounds crazy. I have a wonderful husband. He always says, you cook, I clean up the dishes. And it's like, okay, buddy, that be my guest. So anyways, he cleans up the dishes, and then we go for our 3-mile walk every evening. So that's our time as a couple, where it's just me and him. And it's usually him walking in silence and me regurgitating and hyperventilating while we walk. I talk his head off. And so
the man is a saint. He's a saint.
He is a saint. He is. And so I don't get to stitch as much in the evening as what I'd like to. And so this is just and this is a separate project. I don't stitch on Jesus in the evening. I only stitch in the morning. That's it. And so that's what, my next project, like we said last time, is The Savior's Praise by Shakespeare's Peddler. And that will be my morning project. But I stitch on something different in the evening. So that's just really been really great. That's been keeping me really enthused too, because I have 2 projects or more on the go all the time.
Yeah.
Because I usually stitch on one project at least a week. And then if it's a large project, I'll switch off and to something else. So it's really nice that I always try to touch 2 projects a day.
Okay. So. Yeah. I just think it's a really neat thing.
Thanks.
Yep. Now I do have one question though.
Mm-hmm.
Do you provide breakfast to the people who maintain your warehouse, or are they on their own for that?
I throw them a box of Twinkies.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's real decent of you. Yeah.
I thank you. I appreciate that.
It's just real decent. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, once again, my heart is warm just thinking about it.
Thinking about my shed, my stash shed.
Now, do you literally stand at the door and toss the Twinkies across the yard?
I have a pneumatic tube system.
Of course you do. Of course you do. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, this is impressive. It really is truly impressive. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know, Vonna, I think we're going to end on pneumatic tube. Yeah.
All right. Dang it.
I think that we're just, we're going to call it on pneumatic tube here. Mm-hmm. The first time ever a stitching podcast has mentioned pneumatic tube. We're going to do that. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Oh, shoot.
Thanks for listening, folks.
Yeah, thanks for listening.